Cool.
Kia ora mana tātou. Ko Geneva Harrison ahau, no Te Aupauri Tararoa Ngāti Kahu.
Kia ora koutou, ko Michelle Tibble tōku ingoa, no te whānau apa nui Ngāti Parau me Te Aroa.
And thank you for joining us on the start of our Hauora Essentials event. You would have seen us already talk before, or myself, talk before. Welcome you guys all to the event, and just flagging to you guys that I was going to be talking on the first day about the maramataka. So thank you for joining us.
Cool. Bye.
And unfortunately, both Mihi and I are not available on Monday morning when this kaupapa starts. Unfortunately, we've got a whānau situation, so we won't be here, but we are recording this now on Saturday night, so it'll play for you guys on Monday, and hopefully by now you would have already seen the posts, downloaded the PDF that we have available. That is the 5-day journal on the maramataka, and we are good to go and talk.
Cool. So I just talk now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's no script fun. This is pre-recorded live.
Yes, this is pre-recorded. Well, we're going to talk about now. I thought we are going to talk about the maramataka, and then I just thought, don't let us forget. I want to talk about why we've actually given you guys this. Cool. Today, because we're in the give back days. Okay.
What's so
maramataka?
Kia ora. Just thanks for just being able to talk about the maramataka. It's been a bit of a journey for ourselves over the last year or so, but also just being able to take this mātauranga, or this knowledge that's been given to us from our tupuna, to be able to spend time in it, learning it, and bringing it into the current day. So the last little while we've been looking at the maramataka. So the marama is a wahine. That's pretty exciting in the first place. And why do we know this? Because our sun is a male. So our marama, or our moon, is a female, and hence the phases of the moon. Just like any other wahine, we all have our phases during the month. So for our maramataka,
and I love, we're going to post up the link of Dr. Rangi Matamua, sorry, I always say Matamua. Dr. Rangi Matamua, and he does this lovely kōrero around matariki, and he's also going to show you the links for some books that we recommend. One of them is his one, but he does this amazing kōrero, and it's so easy to listen to, and it's so funny, and you will learn so much within the hour that he talks. And he always just tells the funniest story about, you think of it, the sun is a man, gets up every morning, rises, goes back to sleep.
That's it.
That's it. The easiest way to think about it. Moon, a woman, changes every day. Changes every day.
Yeah, good luck.
Affects the tides, affects all the environment around her.
Up and down,
up and down. Some days are good, some days not so good. So that's probably one of the easy. And when he explains it like that, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. The light comes on.
Yeah. No wonder there's we have whole calendars around the moon, because it's just so different every month. So yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. And so and the maramataka just shares with us. How is it that we have wellness? So back in the day with our whānau, Carl, no clock on the wall, nothing going TikTok, but also remembering too that our current calendar that we have and that we're used to from January through to December is the Gregorian calendar. So our maramataka was just purely on the phases of the moon. So some days or some nights there's 31 moons, and some nights there's 30. So part of our learning is just being able to go through it and learn what each of those mean. And again, you guys, we've got the start of that in the first 5 nights.
So we'll talk about that. So I guess one of the things when we first started to explore this a bit more, and we've already said in that, the opening video that you would have seen, we are not professing to be experts, because this knowledge, this practice it's centuries old. You'd be doing this for a long time before you'll be an expert. So we're just like the little starters. But the great thing about, since we've started to delve into this and learn what we could, is that as old as this knowledge is, it has so much application today. You just have to realise in terms of how and when you can use it. And the sort of first thing that I noticed which was a bit of a challenge as we were learning it, was to try somehow to get that thinking that we always have about everything is done by the days, which is obviously the sun, the calendar, and also that everything starts on the first of the month, because that doesn't happen in the maramataka, and that also the seasons as well. Okay, so we've all been sort of thinged up into the 3/4. That doesn't quite happen. Like that's sort of slightly out.
It's not the 1st of September or the 1st of May.
That's a bit different. And also, even our New Year is different. Okay, so we don't the Māori New Year does not start on the 1st of January. It changes every year. So just to make it even more complicated.
Because the sky changes every year.
Yeah, so I think that's always the thing, and so what we've had to, because we're trying to practice this more and trying to learn more, is, things that we, I even just noticed on, when was that last public holiday? Was it Easter? It was either Easter, one of the recent public holidays, and, everybody was in wind down mode, and it was, time to relax and time to all that, and I was like, nah, man, it was like tangaro days. It was like full on. It was like, be productive. These are like really good days to be productive. So, you just kind of always have to remember it doesn't follow that calendar. Yeah. So that's probably one of the things too that sort of takes a little bit to kind of get your head around. But once you do, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and we're getting there. And I think, the reason we've been able to come up with some of these resources have been, these are the things that would have helped us amazingly on our journey. So, and again, the neat thing about the maramataka too is that the moon looks different depending on where you're standing. So every rohe, every hapu have got slight variation. So there is no one story. There's many versions, and the pure purpose though again was for the health and the well-being of that particular rohe.
Yes.
And if you're an inland iwi, then actually you take your tohu or your signs from the forest around you. If you're a coastal iwi, then actually your day-to-day living was about living by the moana. So you would use the tides to help you decide what's happening today, what we're up to today, when to fish, when not to fish. So again, it's rohe specific, but it's a bit of a starting point. Again, the kōrero that we've taken with rangi is a starting point, and just to help you get started, get going.
One of the things I must admit, when we first started to delve into this more and to learn about it more, is I always thought there was just one calendar. Like it was there's just one, like, in all the names are the same.
There can be only one.
Yeah, there can only be, because that's how we talk, there can only be one. All the names were the same and everything. And and then I had a maramataka that my grandmother had written, that we had at home, and I just thought, it's all the same. It's all the same. Like everybody uses the same. And it wasn't until we delved into it, we were like, oh no, all of the iwi have different. So they've got slightly different names, the days are slightly out, and just as Mihi said, it's because where you're located. So the maramataka that my grandmother had is slightly different as well, because we're a coastal iwi. So yeah, that was probably it's never quite straightforward. It's not that easy.
So if you're thinking, but that's not what we call it, kapai. It may not be. And so this has just been similarly with my queer's writings and what she put inside of her diaries for Te Arawa. Yeah, and we were coastal, and even though we're both from coastal areas, they're probably different. Yeah. And then on top of that, when we did a little bit of research, found 31 maramataka. So
hopefully you haven't joined today thinking that, within 10 minutes you're going to be an expert.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good luck with that.
But we can just tell you there's heaps of variations if you understand that. And I thought, because if we're going to talk about sort of the different phases, but another thing I wanted just to mention is, if you think about what the moon affects, so the moon affects the tides, and why it's in terms of why Māori would, and it's not just Māori, because it's actually this following the phases of the moon is actually common across all of the Pacific as well, and across a lot of other indigenous cultures. So it's not specific to Māori. And one of the other sort of big reasons behind how they would use the maramataka is because it influenced the tides. And why it's so practical for us is because if you think the most simple thing is because human beings are made up of 80% water. Was it 80% water? So of course, if it affects the water, the tides, it's going to affect us. So that's probably another easier kind of way to think about it, and why we are really trying to delve into more and to learn the teachings of it, because it's affecting all of us.
Yeah, So that's as good a place to jump in from.
Okay.
So we thought we'd just share a little bit about a couple of the kind of main phases that stand out, and then just get a bit of a chance to learn them. And one of the common things about it is that actually it's about your energy. And Geneva said, it's the tides going in and out, the ebb and flow of the water into the land and out of the land, into the moana, out of this moana, into your body and out of your body. So if you just think about energy and those flows and what's happening, it makes great sense, because what's happening with Papa Tuanuku happens to all of us. So the first night I think we've got in here is whiro. So kapai, it's a dark night. There is no moon, literally. So whiro refers to, and it's, might be in your calendar that you have as the new moon. So we call this one whiro. And whiro it's the new moon, so a lot of the time too it's about stillness. It's about contemplation. Back in the old day, they didn't have a light. You can't go over to the corner and switch it on. So, it's pitch dark. Are you really going to go somewhere? No, you're going to stay home. So it's a fantastic night just to stay home and to wānanga with yourself, to keep your family close, to spend time with them. It's also a night that you would think about the things that bring light to you, because sometimes in the darkness you could see our tipuna would have sat there and they would have looked up into the skies, remembering too that their acuteness to understanding what was in the skies was far greater than what we have now. And so they would look for the celestial beings and the stars and the systems that were only visible during a dark night. And if we take that into today's kind of practice, thinking about what are the things that are unseen during those nights, and how can we think about them, reflect on them. It's also a really great night for planning. If I'm sitting in the dark and I want to think about things, this is a great night to do it. So often what I'll do with the maramataka is we'll sit here and we'll go, kapai, these are the nights that are coming up and these are the things we're going to do. So we know that these are the high nights for high productivity, these are the low days, these are the days we want to launch something, these are the days we want to hui. It actually has really changed the way in which we've thought about things, because we're thinking about, it's whiro, it's a low energy day. Is that the day we want to take the kids out and run around? Probably not. It's the day that you just want to come together, maybe have a kai together. But if you think about that kind of thing, then those are the things that our tipuna would have been doing because they were reading the land. And we're thinking about winter now, so if it's dark, it's a low energy time. It's also a really good time to think about how we manaki our whānau. And a lot of our whānau who might have low energy or who might not be feeling well, keep an eye on them during these times, because if the earth energy is low, then often we follow. Anything else that you can from that space?
I think about stuff when you're talking and then I can't button.
We'll get there.
But so whiro is also, it's whiro, it's the name of the moon, it comes from the god whiro. So you'll sometimes hear people say, be quiet, be still, so that whiro doesn't catch you. But it's also...
So don't get caught.
It says it much better explained in here. Living by the moon. But if you kind of think about our traditional stories, and then you think about the environment, and then you think about how it actually impacts on you. So it is when you start to... Well, what I've found is the more we're learning, it's so practical. It's so practical. Like when they say things like, yes, there is an atua story to it, but also, if you think about the environment, it does make sense. The other thing I thought I would just want to mention for whiro, because that's, we're starting this on Monday, whiro is Tuesday. Is that in terms of contemplation or that, but also it's also a time when you want to protect yourself. So traditionally, I shouldn't say that, but also back in the old days, whiro is when you had to be aware of enemies, because that's when you'd launch your attack, because they can't see you coming, so that's when enemies would go out, would be during that whiro stage, because it's darkness. You don't send a war party out during rako nui, during full moon, everyone can see you. but
so practical, back to practical.
You sneak out when it's dark. and so I like to also think about whiro, it's a kind of a sort of a contemplation phase, I'm not running any classes, I'm not doing that kind of stuff then, but it's also a kind of a day where I think about protecting myself and my whānau, because that's the days that they say you won't see it coming, if that makes sense.
No.
Yep.
Ka pai. So, you know, the next kind of one, the easiest one to talk about is to go straight from the new moon to Te Rākau Nui, which is our full moon, and surprise, surprise, full moon, beautiful light. It's date night. Because
you can see.
Yeah. So he's hoping it's a great date night. But everyone looks beautiful on a full moon. So, you know, it might be a great night to step on a bit of lippy, you know, to go step out, maybe make the most of that high energy. And it's also a time that was referred to that when our atua would get up and be a bit playful with each other. So, you know, date night might be, you know, if you're planning pregnancy, ka pai, but if you're not, kia te pato. So,
Stay home.
Stay home. By yourself. By yourself. So again, for some iwi too, Te Rākau Nui is actually the first night because it's easily seen. You know, you don't have to guess about, you know, which one it is. But so it's practical. Again, it's just practical. So yeah, if you're trying to be on the sneaky side, you know, go hunting in whiro. But yeah, not good for if you're trying to play up.
Yeah. Also with Rākau Nui is that, yes, there's all that really positive. There's all that really positive stuff, but it's also a time where you also keep an eye on things, because so if you think about what we mentioned before about, you know, we're water, right? So in Rākau Nui, moon is full, the tides are high,
yeah,
right? So you got to also think at that time people's emotions are high as well, right? Because that's what we think in terms
maybe
of...
don't break up on this night.
Yeah, no, don't.
There's some oils for that.
Wait for a couple of days. Yeah. Otherwise, no, because if you think about, you know, the tai hinengaro, you know, so the things that are actually happening within your mind as well and in your body. So you just have to be mindful of that emotions are high. And what's really funny is I used to work in mental health years ago, and people would always joke about that and sort of say, oh, you know, full moon, everything happening on full moon, and you didn't really. And then when we started to look at it, we were like, wow,
yeah, makes sense.
It makes sense. Like, it actually does make sense.
Yep.
Like, yeah, of course we are made of water, and if the tides are high,
the moon is high,
you know, and we talk about, you know, and especially within Maori, because we don't just think of the physical, but, you know, we also think about the spiritual side of you as well. And we thought, yeah, actually that does make sense. Everything then is quite heightened. So yes, I'm going to talk about it in a separate video in terms of how that affects in terms of the oils and stuff that I use. But I sort of just try to think about being mindful of that. About, yeah, it's a time when, you know, it's people are quite emotionally charged. So
high productivity, everything's buzzing. You've gone from a state of when the earth was closed up to the state now where the earth is opening. And so back in the day, it was also a great day for travelling. Again, it's not like you could do high beam or low beam in the car. So, you know, people were out and about. The earth was moving because people could see, the plants could see, you know, because they've got eyes. The animals could see. So it was about movement. So lots and lots of movement. Another great day too, because of that high productivity for you if you're doing, you know, doing on your journey for wellness. Great day for running. Great day for getting out there and doing a lot of activity. Not a great day though for our tamariki being stuck in the classroom all day. So if you're in the classroom with your tamariki, or even in the house with your own tamariki, they're busy. Sitting inside the classroom is probably not a great day. So if you're thinking about when to do those activities, you know, really the maramataka is a massive way to support all that things that we would have done naturally.
Also, though, you want to kind of just be mindful also that if you were because it is that, you know, tides are high, energy high as well. You just have to be mindful that sometimes that might not be a good result for you if you're running hui. So you just kind of think, because and that's just practically,
especially a hard hui.
Yeah, especially, you know, if you're just having normal, you know, kind of meeting and stuff, then that's fine. But if you're having a thing and you know that people are going to be quite emotional, like it's going to be quite a difficult taki or different, you know, something to talk about, I wouldn't have it then. because people are, you know, they are already physically charged. So, you know, they'll come to a hui, and if it's something that, you know, have a little bit of an argument, but they'll argue.
Maybe not when you hold them at our AGM.
Yeah. moon.
Check the moon.
Just think, oh no,
But if you want to
not
talk
a good
about
day.
maybe the plans for opening the wharenui, beautiful day because everyone's
Everyone's
just buzzing
charged and happy and they're
happy.
ready to contribute
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah,
But
if you're presenting
yeah.
financials, probably not a great day. Not a great day. Or if you've got bad news to deliver to your whānau, not a great day. If you've got a new job, great day. So if you're, again, just thinking about, and there's lots of kōrero too around what's happening with Papatūnuku, what's happening in our seas, what's happening in our forests. But for us in this particular space, we've been really, really focused on actually that taiheningaro, all the tides that and the ebbs and flows of us as, well, obviously wahine, but as people.
Just thinking about that, do you want to just talk about another thing which I actually had no knowledge of this until very recently when we went to a couple of events. Once you start kind of learning a bit about this, is what we've, we're just starting the journey. So, but one of the things that you start to notice, like, oh, is that why this is happening then, right? Yeah. So I had never actually noticed until a few months ago that, everybody runs their karanga wānangas on Rako Nui. Like hadn't noticed that before.
Yep.
And I was like, of course, right, because the emotions, so
yep.
That's a good time to really
and to call things out.
And to call things
out.
That makes sense. And then I also didn't know about the practice of pure.
Oh yes, yep.
About the releasing into the tide.
Yep.
During Rako Nui. I actually had never heard of that before. So
yep.
It was really interesting about things how they've been timed.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the pure is around that cleansing ritual. So there's the kōrero that we've all been brought up with, and the movie Frozen's helped with it. Let it go, just let it go. Engari, don't let it go, because otherwise you leave it for someone else to pick up in this beautiful kaumātua.
Another generation.
Yeah, because it's way to us, so it'll be there for years.
Yeah, hanging around.
Beautiful kaumātua ririata. He shared with us actually in terms of Māori, we don't necessarily let it go. We have other ways to look after ourselves, and one of those ways has been the practice of pure, and that is when you take your mama, you take whatever that is, or that pain, or that's something that you want to, and you send it out with the water. You send it out with the tide on Rako Nui, and then it comes back on the incoming tide. Cleansed and clean again, so that you can carry on, and that doesn't have that after effect, or doesn't stay with your whānau or generations for ake tonu atu, mo ake tonu atu. So that kōrero to us was just knowing about it, but not, you don't ask questions back in the, I didn't ask my queer questions. So there are lots of practices now that we've been reflecting on, that I realise now the why. Because I didn't know the why.
That's probably the best thing that both of us have learned. Obviously, me's from Te Aroa and I'm from up north. But the more that we're spending time in talking to these amazing, knowledgeable people, and learning about stuff, it's all kind of like, because we were both brought up by our grandparents, and then we're both just like, was that why we did that?
Yeah. I didn't ask a question because you get thwack.
But we didn't know. We just thought, we just do that then. And I think, just probably a bit of an aside, but that's probably one of the things that's driven us, or contributed to driving us in the development of the stationery that we do, because we're like, it's just so valuable. It's just so empowering to know all this stuff. But I guess back in the day, because for our grandparents, it was just so intrinsically part of who they were. It was their daily practices. I guess they didn't think they'd need to kind of explain and draw pictures for us and write heaps of things for us and this is how you do it, because they lived it, and I think that's the huge difference in the generations. Our grandparents' generations, they lived it every day, and now we're trying to
come back to living it. And I think that's been the amazing connection, is understanding that mātauranga that makes us uniquely Māori, that we can share, and the results you get, because you want this, for everybody in your whānau, especially, and whoever your whānau is, that understanding has been massive.
It's been massive.
Yeah.
And it's also really helped, because I'm just obviously you're all oily people, that's why you're all on here. But for me, in terms of using the essential oils, it's really helped to ground my knowledge, because I would follow different discussions and all that kind of stuff, with oil kind of stuff, and they'd always have the talks about, the seasons and doing by seasons and, going in the flows and all of that. And I said, it was all really interesting, but I always think, but is that our practices? Like, does that really resonate with us? And how, and if it does, then how do I apply it? How do because I really like all the information and stuff from everything we do with the essential oils, and I really like all that discussion, but I always have to keep trying to bring it down to, okay, but then how do I apply it to myself? And so this has been really helpful to kind of look at it, and then to, when that session, one of the sessions that we had on the co-master was when he talked about, he goes, well, I don't know what you mean by seasons. We're like, what? What? And he was like, oh, no, there's 10, what did he say? There's 10 stages of winter. We're like, what? So it's like all these things that you have to really start to kind of figure out and like, oh, okay, that's this knowledge, that's the mātauranga, this is where this knowledge has come from, and this is what's sort of become practices now today, and then just trying to kind of sort out, okay, what do we want to kind of take forward? And sometimes I feel like as we've been on this journey, it kind of feels like, how you have a haze in front of you, but you're kind of, the pathway starts to clear. Like, that's what it kind of feels like. We're kind of having all these different things. And then
all these different things.
Yeah, or it's like a little puzzle. And it's like everything's kind of like, it's kind of just slotting together. And it's, I suppose we could talk about it for ages. We could go on well over time. But yeah, I just probably want to say that it's been so helpful for us just to learn, and one of the things that we've both done since we've been trying to learn more about it is about keeping a journal. So and this is why, and also just to sort of say, so today, these days are give back days, right? So we wanted to share this because it is part of when you understand about how the cycles work in the maramataka. So there's phases that are good for planting, fishing. There's phases, high energy, low energy, and then there's also phases where they say it's a good give back day, and a give back can be a whole range of things. Like a give back can be you weeding your garden because you're giving back to Papatūānuku by actually weeding it, weeding the garden. It could be you giving something to or it could be you giving kohats. It's however you choose to give back. And so that's sort of another thing why we wanted to share the 5 days of the journal, so that it was our it's part of our practice of actually giving back. And that's probably one of the things that we're just trying to learn, as on these each phases, how do we implement it ourselves in our daily practices. So that was one thing. So what we have been, both Michelle and I have been doing for a while now, is we have been just kind of tracking things so that it just deepens our knowledge. And so that's why we've given this for everybody to use, and it is only the 5 days, because you have to buy the book if you want any more. No, but it is 5 days. It is 5 days. It just gives you that chance to actually get to learn more, and then actually think, okay, so this is a good day for this. This is not a good day for this. I should be mindful if I've got such and such planned. And then what are your observations? And that's kind of the really interesting part for us, is we're really starting to observe things and actually think, okay, this is what's happened. I'm thinking actually what you missed saying is on Whiro nights, mihi fasts.
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like I.
And I don't, because that's too much hard work. But mihi fast on Whiro, because that's really relevant to the kaupapa of Whiro, and she's really noticed a huge difference in her energy levels. Which I would have thought, gee, really? But I was like, God, I would feel worse if I was hungry. But it's been the opposite for her. So I think that's why it's so important for us, the journal, because we are sort of tracking different things and then trying to see, okay, so if this is what our tupuna are saying, this is what we've learned from other kaumatua that we've been working with, how's it actually affecting us today?
And I've been a checker, so I've kept a diary since I was 6. And I've always recorded anything, including in terms of having my mate or my monthly, to how I'm feeling, to when I've date nights.
For kids.
Anyway, and so what I ended up doing was taking that good collection of information that I've been collecting just for my own purposes. And by the time I finished mapping it, put it on an Excel sheet and all of that good stuff, including my spending habits. And then when I mapped it to the maramataka, I just had massive amounts of downloads, learning more about myself, how I respond to things, and just really getting that, a massive understanding around what's happening to me down here, and how my energy is affecting. And that's the other thing, just in terms of the bottom of our page here, is just on how you can record actually your own energy levels. And unsurprisingly, and we've had heaps of feedback on our Instagram. Check it out, Tuhi Stationery. And on our Facebook page, again, check it out, Tuhi Stationery. About people who've also tracked their own journeys or tracked their own emotions and their own women monthlies, and how they're just amazed at how much it maps naturally to the maramataka. So that's been really awesome. So again, it's just down here and see how you're going.
Yeah. And I think, it's really empowering, especially for us as Māori women. It's so empowering. It's that validating of that knowledge. Like, it's like our old traditional knowledge is so good. Like, it's like this huge thing. Like, you just need to open up to it, and just to take it in, and you'll just see the massive impacts it'll have on your life. Like, that's kind of been the real buzzy kind of thing for us. I mean, I must admit, when we first started, we were like, we'll just see if it's right or wrong. But
we're supposed to say that bit.
Oh, sorry. But after you keep tracking it from us, like,
fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's been really helpful, for ourselves personally, whether or not we did anything with it. If it was just improving ourselves, it really has been of value.
Yeah. And maybe one day I'll map it to Kai as well. But it's been really good, and just picking up on that point, it's about taking this mātauranga and then taking this mātauranga, in this case it's with the oils, and seeing how they actually complement each other. So, check that video out that Geneva's going to be doing. It'll be amazing because, again, just thinking about the things we could have just chucked in right now, it's if it's going to be a low energy period, what are the oils in that space? If you know that it's a high energy period, or if just the more knowledge you have, the more ability you have to connect that mātauranga, and not necessarily confuse it or try and take it and say this mātauranga over here belongs in here. It may not, and that's kei te pai. It's about thinking, how do you connect it so that you can maintain your the order that you have, your own wellness. Was that it?
We did have some notes of, and we've actually only talked about 2 phases, but
maybe next time. We could carry on. I'm not sure.
Yes, or we could. No. We could. There's probably enough. To we've talked for how long for 30 minutes. But what we will we will try and get on and do maybe some lives or something. Because on Monday.
Yeah.
But we also will. So we just want to we will put it in the post and everything, so in terms of our journey and our learning, we highly recommend this one.
Yep.
By Wuremu Tāwhai, and it is the maramataka of Te Whanau Apanui. It is a very amazing book. It's bilingual, so it's in both Māori and English. Wealth of knowledge in it, just wealth of knowledge. And we'll post the links up. You can get them from who your publishers online. It's like only $30.
The knowledge that you get out of that, and the price for it is
it's unreal. It's unreal. It's like, whoa, this is just amazing. Yeah. And he was a kaimātua, and he wrote this for his doctorate, his doctoral study. Like, it's just amazing. Yeah, so that's definitely one highly recommend. And second,
you're doing a great job.
Oh, okay. Second, I would definitely recommend this book. I mean, this is just an absolute staple. You need to have to understand the celestial,
the sky.
Yeah, the stars. And definitely his links, like just watching his videos is amazing. You're just like, whoa, I didn't know that.
And if you think you know Matariki,
go
in with an open mind.
I thought too. What have we been celebrating all these years?
It's not Seven Sisters in terms of the story that he has, in the kōrero sheet here. Yeah, but it was mind blowing.
Yeah, his was amazing. And then we've got our journal, and then we've got and then we've got the dial that's been developed by Ririata Mākiha.
Yeah.
So this one has the hokianga, maramataka in it. So it's just great. There's just and then we'll also post up. There's a couple of pages that we Facebook pages that we follow that have got some awesome resources and awesome observations and stuff. So we'll post up all of those links too. And I think there's a couple of other research reports that would be kind of easy to access and to download. So they'll be good. But really, it is. I think all we kind of wanted to just make the thing is that. But all we can say is that we can't tell you everything within this short time. It is a massive body of knowledge. It is centuries old. It is mātauranga. But it is what we've found is the more that we learn, the more we've realised, it is from back then, but it has so much application today. And it's kind of like how we then use it in our day to day, and we're just still learning. Like the last point. Okay. The last point. One of the things that we talk about a lot, and in terms all of you oily people, you'll get this. But we're always a little bit oily. Yeah. But we're always talking about understanding ourselves better, and who we are, and then that also helps in terms of the roles that we do and everything. But one of the things that this has also helped us with is we really are conscious that your own life patterns is like a tuki, right? But you can't weave that pattern well if you don't understand it, like if you don't actually understand the patterns of your life. And so one of the things that's been really helpful for us is sort of merging all of this different knowledge and being able to, like, the patterns just become so clear. And that's really helped ourselves personally.
Scary helped,
yeah. But scary.
Scary helped, yep.
But it's all everyone does finds this knowledge different ways, but being able to do it this way and actually being able to see all of the all the interlocking and like how that's all been coming together and these patterns that keep emerging, you're just like
and to think it makes me feel closer to my kuia. And for this my tipun who I didn't know, thinking that this is the stuff that they used when they set the legacy for us as a whānau. It just feels massive. There's no explanation for that feeling.
So, hope that's been enlightening.
If not entertaining.
And so we will pop up some of the links, and we'll try and pop up in later. Please use the journal, just see how you go for the next days. We'll pop up some stuff about these 5 days to be mindful of, and really hope you enjoy the week ahead. What's the action to do?
Just check us out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And a bit of feedback.
Oh, okay. You
let us know.
can
let us know what you think. Check us out on Instagram, Tuhi Stationery Ki. Check us out on Facebook. We post up stuff all the time, and just with that knowledge that you have, in terms of the oils in that particular space, if it helps, then massive. And as women, having this extra boost, having that extra knowledge. That's why we're excited. We love being Māori, but we love being Māori women. And that's why we've taken on this journey as well.
Yeah, and she's a woman, so
Yeah.
we can relate.
Little bit.
Okay. All right, thank yous. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll talk again soon.
He kona.